footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. That's Emery Hunt-Azar, the playbook, and I'm Tyler Merkovich, bringing you an off-season team outlook for the New York Giants, who were 8-8 last year, but owned the 15th overall pick in this year's draft. Dominic Hickson, one of their wide receivers, is a key free agent on offense, and on defense, a couple of defensive tackles who were prominent in that Super Bowl run a couple of years ago, Barry Cofield and Fred Robbins. So we talked about it all year. It's team speed for the Giants. They lose Antonio Pierce. Osi Umenyiора's not happy. Are they going to keep building on that defense? They need a linebacker.
Yeah, that's the number one need, I think, linebacker. You look at the loss of Antonio Pierce, even though he didn't make a lot of plays like his reputation would lead you to believe, they need a star linebacker. You look at a guy like Sergio Kendall that could be there, a guy like Sean Witherspoon, a guy like Rolando McClain. If he drops that far to the Giants, that would be an ideal situation. You get a leader like that in that defense. So they need linebacker number 1. 2,
Carlos Dansby.
Carlos Dansby, if he can make it over there. But
wow,
defensive end is a number.
And they've done in the past. Sign LeVar Arrington, sign Antonio Pierce, maybe sign Carlos Dansby. Could be an interesting fit for the New York Giants.
I guess so. With number 2, they need a defensive end. You mentioned Umenyiora is unhappy. He was just flying up the field anyway, taking himself out to play. Kiwanuka is going to be a free agent next year. So they need a defensive end, a guy that can apply pressure. When the Giants made it to the Super Bowl, they were getting pressure with that front four. That was lacking last year. Teams were able to pick up their blitz, and they didn't have the team speed to compensate for the lack of pass rush. And so the third need is they need a cornerback. You know, they need a cornerback and a safety. Secondary help was lacking speed.
Right. Corey Webster, I mean, he was the number 1 guy. He didn't have the best year. Aaron Ross was injured all year. What about offensive line? It's aging fast with McKenzie. Maybe get some youth up there. I know they got Beatty out of UConn, but look out for that offensive line. I mean, it's not getting any younger. You know how fast these guys get old on the offensive line. So maybe they go there, but you're right, secondary a little bit, and mostly up on that front 7, rebuild it.
Right.
They had a bunch of injuries on the secondary, though. Kenny Phillips is coming back. Aaron Ross is going to come back. So maybe later they could address that secondary help.
Yeah, the secondary help is 3rd and 4th on my list. You look at cornerback and safety. They really do need another strong safety. But offensive line depth is key. That's my 5th team need for the Giants. They need to get younger on that offensive line to build that. You always want to have a rotation going. So
a good transition from the old to the young.
Right. You always draft linemen in the draft. Every year you're supposed to draft linemen. That way you keep them fresh. Right. So that's what they need. And I think the Giants, if they can get that pressure, that's the reason why the secondary was getting exploited, because they couldn't get pressure. You know, and if they can get that front 4 to get pressure on the QB, then the back half is going to look awesome. You know, it doesn't matter who you have back there. You know, but they have to get that pressure up front. So that starts with the D lineman as well as the linebacker.
Absolutely. The Giants could turn this around real fast if they get a guy like Dansby, and then they still have the 15th pick overall, so they could build and be back on top real fast. And because they gave up a bunch of points last year, last couple years, they gave up one of the top totals right there in points. So their defense just was not there, despite all those big free agents they picked up. They were banged up all season. They never got healthy, never got cohesive. So it could be a turnaround year fast for the Giants if they get one big free agent and have a pretty solid draft.
Yeah, team speed is a must.
For more, visit footballgameplan.com or youtube.com/footballgameplan.